We'll cover life processes, full chapter, concept explanation, diagrams, structure, and functioning of different systems, important questions, experiments, and multiple questions to test your knowledge all in one shot. Shall we start? Yes, in this video, we will discuss the different life processes. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe today and press the bell icon next to it. We have been studying about living and non living things with the help of certain characteristics. We distinguish between living and non living things. A dog wagging its tail, an ant crawling. Are these living? Yes, they are because they are moving. So, movement is a sign of living. You sow a seed in soil. After a few weeks, you find a plant growing on basing the character growth. We say the plant is a living thing. So, in the above cases, movement and growth are the indicators of life. But sometimes we find living things without movement. Example, this sleeping dog and this cactus at this instant. We do not notice neither movements nor growth in the above two. It doesn't mean that they are not living. They have movements that are not visible to our naked eyes. Movements are there. Where are they? We all know that living things are made up of organs, made up of tissues, finally, cells. Cells are made up of molecules. In continuous movement of molecules, these movements are essential for repair and maintenance processes. These repair and maintenance processes are called life processes. Let's see what are life processes. Life processes important. All living things are made up of cells. Cells are made up of molecules. For a cell to be alive, it has to be repaired and maintained all the time. Repair and maintenance of a cell needs a continuous supply of new molecules and disposal of unwanted molecules. This task is achieved by a set of processes called life processes. Nutrition is a life process in which food is obtained by the organism and converted to simpler molecules, that is, nutrients. These are supplied to the cells by a transport system. Respiration is a life process in which oxygen is obtained by the organism and supplied to the cells by the transport system. Cells utilize some of these nutrients and oxygen to produce energy. Some nutrients are used for the synthesis of new materials for growth and repair. While carrying out the above activities, cells generate certain molecules which are toxic and to be excreted out of the body. Excretion is a life process in which living organisms excrete the toxic materials out of the cells by the help of transport system. Transportation is a life process that helps in the transport of materials in nutrition, respiration and excretion. So, nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion are the four life processes essential for organism to live. Nutrition in plants. Nutrition in plants is autotrophic. Do you know the meaning of autotrophic? Auto means self, trophic means feeding. Hence, autotrophic means self feeding. Plants prepare their food called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis mention the raw materials required for photosynthesis. Plants use sunlight to synthesize food from the simple inorganic materials like carbon dioxide and water and the help of chloroplast. This process is called photosynthesis. Where this photosynthesis does takes place? Exactly name the green dot-like structures in some cells observed by a student when a leaf peel was viewed under a microscope. Green color due to a student. If we see the cross section of a leaf, we will find the cells with green colored structures called chloroplasts. This is the exact site where the photosynthesis takes place. Chloroplasts are green in color because they contain a green color pigment called chlorophyll. How do plants get their raw materials? For photosynthesis, dioxide enters the leaf through small pores called stomata present on the underside of the leaf. Water is absorbed by the soil from the roots, and exposure of leaf surface to the sun enables it to get enough sunlight for photosynthesis. How do they help the plant? Stomata are the tiny pores present on the surface of the leaves. These pores help the plant by allowing the carbon dioxide into the cells of the leaf. Stomata also helps in the process of transpiration. Why do plants close and open stomata since large amounts of water is lost through these stomata during transpiration? The plant closes these pores, but this stomata gets opened when there is a need of carbon dioxide. What mechanism helps the stomata to get closed and opened? Each stomata pore is surrounded by a pair of guard cells. The opening and closing of pore is a function of the guard cells. The guard cells swell when the water flows into them, causing the stomatal pore to open. Then water flows into them, causing the stomatal pore to open. Similarly, the pore closes if the guard cells shrink. How can we prove that chlorophyll is the important for photosynthesis? With the help of a variegated leaf experiment, we can prove that chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. To do this experiment, we need a potted plant with variegated leaves. We have to keep the plant in dark for 3 days. Do you know why so that all starch present in the plant gets used up now? Place this plant in sunlight for about 6 hours. Now detach a leaf from the plant and mark the green areas of it. Now trace the leaf and its green borders on butter paper. And now place the leaf in the boiling water for a few minutes. Take it out and place it in a beaker containing alcohol. Now place the beaker with alcohol into your water bath. Set up till the alcohol begins to boil. The leaf loses its color, the alcohol turns into green color. Now take out the leaf and dip it in a dilute iodine solution for few minutes. Take out the leaf and rinse it. Observe the blue colored part of the leaf and compare it with the pepper tracing here. We observe that starch is prepared only in the green color parts of the leaf. Hence, we prove that chlorophyll is important for photosynthesis. How can we prove that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis? Write an experiment to show that carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis. We can prove that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis by a simple experiment. We need two healthy pots of same size. We have to keep them in a dark room for 3 days. To de-starch them, place the plants on a glass plates or smooth finished tiles. Place a watch glass containing potassium hydroxide by the side of one of the plant cover. Cover the both plants with the separate bell jars. Why to place them on glass plates? Because we want the plant to be in a tight environment. So we have to take a smooth surface at the bottom and the bell jar at the top to keep it airtight. Even then, some air can enter inside through the edges, and the bell jar at the top to keep it airtight. Even then, some air can enter inside through the edges. How do we stop it? That is why we apply Vaseline or grease at the edges to prevent the entry of air. But still, there are some air in the bell jar. That means there is some carbon dioxide. How do we remove it? That is why we have placed a watch glass with potassium hydroxide, which will absorb the carbon dioxide present in the jar. So now our setup is ready with plant without silver tube and another plant with some silver tube. Let the plant stand in sunlight for 2 hours. Now, pluck a leaf from each plant and test them for the presence of starch. Do both leaves show the presence of same amount of starch? No. The plant with KOH plate shows no sign of starch, but the plant without potassium hydroxide could prepare some starch. By this experiment, we can conclude that carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis. What are the three important steps involved in photosynthesis? Let us see the steps involved in it. Step 1: chlorophyll molecules get activated by sunlight. Step 2: activated chlorophyll splits the water into hydrogen and oxygen. Step 3: hydrogen generated in the step 2 are utilized to reduce the carbon dioxide to glucose. These steps do not take place immediately, one after the other, because certain plants take carbon dioxide during the night time. Plants also need nitrogen to make the proteins to build up their bodies. They get it from the soil in the form of nitrates and nitrites. Atmospheric nitrogen is made into nitrites and nitrates by the soil bacteria. Now let us see nutrition in human beings under the topic heterotrophic nutrition. Food enters our body through mouth and travels through a long canal which ends at anus. This canal is called the alimentary canal. In the mouth, the food is ground to a paste by teeth and saliva. Saliva is a watery fluid, not only makes the food soft and wet, it also has the enzyme called salivary amylase which partially digests the sugars. Now, the food has to reach the stomach through a pipe called esophagus. The muscles of the esophagus contract automatically to move the food through it to the stomach. Stomach is a large muscular hollow organ in which the food is thoroughly mixed with more digestive juices secreted by the gastric glands present in the walls of the stomach. These juices include 1. Pepsin, a protein digesting enzyme; 2. Hydrochloric acid to provide acidic medium for the proper action of pepsin; and 3. Mucus to prevent the damage of stomach wall by action of a HCl, and at the end of stomach a splinter muscle slowly releases the food into the small intestine, the longest part of the alimentary canal, which is highly coiled to accommodate it in a small space. It receives pancreatic juice from the pancreas, intestinal juice from the glands in the intestines, and bile juice from the liver. Pancreatic juice and intestinal juices contain enzymes like trypsin lipase, pancreatic amylase, peptidases, and nucleases. Bile does two things. One, it breaks the fats into smaller droplets, providing more surface area for the quick action of enzymes line, so that the digestion of fats and carbohydrates is facilitated. These enzymes finally make the carbohydrates to sugars to alkaline, so that the digestion of fats and carbohydrates is facilitated. These enzymes finally make the carbohydrates to sugars, proteins to amino acids, and fats to fatty acids. And glycerol, the inner lining of the small intestine, has finger like projections called villi. The large intestine, the unabsorbed food is sent into the large intestine where the water is absorbed. Human digestive system. We will learn about it, about the diagrams and etc. in the part 2. Thank you, one and all.